All right. So apparently, we get to make a choice between having a government or having legal access to THC to make our own medical and body autonomy choices. The government's been shut down for a while. Outside of air traffic control, it hasn't really bothered very many people. Um, you know, I think it's horrible that we get to choose between having a government and the SNAP, which is obviously creating some issues, and air traffic control, or medical autonomy. But apparently, what happened was the alcohol industry got together and paid off enough of the guys that in order to reopen the government, we don't get to have THC anymore. No Delta 8, no Delta 9, no THCA, no THC in anything, because it's bad. And alcohol's awesome because alcohol's legal, and alcohol's a giant lobby and it's paying lots and lots of people lots and lots of cash. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Um, the alcohol is significantly worse for you in pretty much every single way, and worse for society than cannabis. Alcohol creates violence, it creates rape, it creates all sorts of terrible things that cannabis really just doesn't stack up to as far as the instances of occurrence. So, why are we at this point where we're trying to take it away? It's because obviously they're getting paid by somebody to do it. So most likely the alcohol lobby. This is a major issue. We need to start telling the government that they don't get to choose what we put in our bodies. Remember, during COVID, our government kept ivermectin and it's not butazine, budesonide away from us because they wanted us to get sick and die so they could create fear so they could sell the vaccine. That was the entire reason. There's doctors right now who are fighting to get their licenses back because they gave budesonide to patients and saved their lives. But the government, the medical industry said, you can't do that because if you save their lives, they won't want to take the shot. And that's why they lost the licenses. Our government has actively kept medications from us that are critical to our function, our life. Psychedelics have an 85% cure rate for addiction. We've known this since the 60s. Don't you think that would have been beneficial during the medically created opioid crisis? Remember when the FDA came out and said, if you buy opium from us, it's no longer addictive. We've known it's addictive since the 1800s, but we put a special candy coating on it, and trust us, if you buy opium from us, you won't get addicted. And then 20 years later, they're still going, we don't know how to fix this. Yeah, we do. It's psychedelics, but they don't want that because guess what? If you're addicted to stuff, you buy it more. So this is the entire thing. So your government is actually coming out and saying that, not only do you not get to choose what you put in your body, you don't get to choose your health care, but your options are alcohol, which fuel all sorts of problems, and addiction. You get that or you get nothing. Those are your options. This is a horrible piece where we're at. And if you don't like it, fine. Like, you don't have to consume it. But the idea that we're going to step up and say no one gets anything, no one has the right or the choice to do that is absurd. And they come out like, well, it's for safety. Where have all the deaths, where have all the horrible, terrible things that have happened since it's been legal in the past couple of years, past 5-7 years? There aren't any because it's not that big of a deal. It's not that dangerous. Yeah, I know. Dr. Amen came out and said, if you smoke pot, it's going to eat your entire brain away. And he did say that. He said that cannabis is going to eat away all your gray matter. Well, so here's the thing. I actually like Dr. Amen. I think he's a genius. I think he's a great guy. I think he's done a lot of phenomenal work. Here's the problem. He's very medical. And medical doctors are trained that if there's not a drug to sell, there's no hope. Here's the thing. What he actually proved was that cannabis is wildly beneficial from a therapeutic standpoint to people who have Parkinson's, who have depression, who have schizophrenia, who have all these things, because cannabis releases dopamine into the system. And so it makes them feel substantially better for a short time. It makes them feel better than normal, actually. So like they're down here, normal's here, that makes them feel a little bit better because they actually get more release of dopamine. The problem you run into is that these people have an issue with creating enough dopamine to function the system. And that lack of dopamine decreases cerebral blood flow, which then ends up creating damage to the brain tissue. Well, yeah, there's no drug that will fix that. However, if you have them eat meat, take testosterone, and work out outside in the sun, you get massive amounts of dopamine produced naturally, which I get it. Medical doctors aren't taught how the body works. They're not taught how to get the thing to work. All they're taught is sell the drugs or don't talk to people. That's it. That's where this whole cholesterol thing came from. That's where all this stuff came from. So this is where a lot of this stuff is actually coming from. So it is not that cannabis is bad for you. It's that some people need help creating more dopamine. That's literally the only issue we've seen with it, is that some people need to create more dopamine. And the way I just told you to do it will fix the vast majority of them. Now, some people have MOA, COMT and MOA issues from genetics. Super easy. Run a genetic test, find that out. And you know what they need? Hydroxycobalamin or adenocobalamin. That's one of the big things they need. But they also need all the precursors, which are in meat. But remember, our medical community from the FDA has been telling us that grains are the most important thing we can consume, followed by trash. They're the ones who came out and actually said that Lucky Charms was better for you than steak. They have been trying so hard for so long to keep everyone as sick as possible. So the only option they have is drugs. Because where do you go when you feel terrible? You go to the medical doctors and they give you drugs. That's our entire system. That's it. No one sits down and goes, hey, by the way you make all this stuff is with the nutrients that you're supposed to be eating. Oh, you're not eating those things? You should probably eat those. It's like thyroid issues. People who come out like, oh, I have these thyroid issues. Yeah, so T3, which is your primary functional thyroid hormone, has 3 iodines. T4, which is 80% of all the thyroid hormone you make, has 4 iodines. Guess what? If you don't consume iodine, you can't make things made of iodine very easily. So a lot of times when we take people who have some thyroid issues and we give them a bunch of iodine, they get better. Isn't that amazing? So these are the things that we're looking at. So right now, your government has decided that not only do you not get to have medical autonomy, but you don't get to have the things that have been proven to be, way safe. You get alcohol, which is proven to be unsafe. So here's your options. This is the big thing. We all need to stand up and be like, no, you don't get to tell us what we can and can't put in our body anymore. You don't get to tell us, what is safe and what is not safe for me. I'm going to decide. I'm going to work with somebody. I'm going to work with my doctor. I'm going to work with, my nutritionist. I'm going to work with my trainer. I'm going to work with the internet and just read myself and figure out what's best for me. That's kind of where we're at on this. You guys can make your own decision on how you want to play that. But everybody needs to get a hold of their Congress people and be like, this is unacceptable. You can't keep taking things away from us and then just taxing us out of life. So that's kind of where we're at. Make your own calls on that. If you guys have any other questions, hit us up. Have a fantastic day.